There's no prizes for guessing what's behind me. It's a Mercedes-Benz. But it's not just any Mercedes-Benz. For starters, it's the flagship of the range. It's the 2663. But beyond that, if you have a close look even from here, you'll see there are no external mirrors. This has got MirrorCam, which is the internal digital mirror. It's not just that though. There is so much tech hidden inside this truck. There's a whole new dash layout, which is they call a multimedia cockpit. But the real key to it, and one of the real interesting aspects, is the SoloStar cab. Now we'll get inside shortly and we'll talk about SoloStar. That I slept in it last night. It's a bigger bunk, it's even a better bunk. But actually using it is something else. Anyway, we'll talk about it shortly. Been around long enough now to have seen a lot of evolution in Mercedes-Benz. Like seriously, of all the truck brands on the market, Mercedes-Benz has probably had more ups and downs than anyone. You go way back to the iconic 1418 and trucks like that, which set the brand up in this country. And then follow that, they brought out the V-Series trucks and they developed into another generation. Some were good, some weren't. But they still held the market and they still did good numbers. You know, people were happy to run Benzes with V6s and V8s. Then Actros arrived, the first Actros, still with V6s and V8s, and it put the Benz breed into a bucket. It did more harm for the brand in this market than ever before. And then this new series came along, the new Actros, and it has rebuilt the brand again. And really, Benz is on a roll at the moment. It has come back from next to nowhere in the heavy-duty market to be a real force, a real player amongst all the cab-over brands. I've got to say, I really like driving these Benzes. Unlike the V6s and V8s of the past, this is a 16-litre Euro 6. Top of the line as far as emissions go. 625 horsepower, 3,000 Newton metres of torque. What's not to like at those sort of figures? It is a fabulous truck to drive. The road handling of this cab, even though it's so tall, is just exceptional. You know where you are all the time. And this 16-litre engine, and the way it matches with the 12-speed power shift transmission, it's as good as it gets. It truly is. If you want to get some idea of what it's like to sit inside a modern Mercedes-Benz car, just climb inside the latest Mercedes-Benz truck, because the dash layout, or the multimedia cockpit as they call it, it's all there. This is Benz through and through, from the truck to the car, from the car to the truck. Just so many pieces of equipment, controls, gauges. But so much of it has to be learned. And it takes time, it really does. But anyone in the modern era who's moderately adept at iPads or whatever will fall into this straight away, won't have any trouble with it. For us older folk, it takes a little bit more adjustment. You have a screen on the left, and that's controlled by a flick pad on the left of the steering wheel, and you have a main instrument gauge in front of you, which is controlled on the right-hand side. And changing from one to the other is as simple as just rolling your finger across, up and down, to give you, say, instant fuel consumption or whatever. Practicality's there. You adjust to it quicker than you think, even someone of my vintage. And then you got MirrorCam. There was a time, not maybe 15, 18 months ago, when Mercedes-Benz introduced MirrorCam for the first time and asked a couple of us to go and drive it and give us their impressions. And I'll say now what I said then. Everything about MirrorCam represents what the future may well be. But I cannot be in love with convex mirrors. When you're backing up, particularly a full-length B double, your depth of field changes and you really have to adjust to it. That's where I find issues with it. But in every other sense, at night time and whatever, it's not really an issue to use it. Again, it all takes time and it all takes practice. But look, it's hard not to be impressed with this cab. There's a lot to like, but there's also a lot to learn. Just pulling out like this, it's one of the things that's a little bit disconcerting about MirrorCam, because the traffic coming from behind, it's coming at you quicker than you think, and all of a sudden it's on top of you, so you don't get that real perspective of how close something is. But the fact that it gives you all this area without any obstruction when you're at roundabouts and that, it's just, it's a huge asset. There are other benefits with it as well, you know, like aerodynamically, it's an asset. Because all you've got is a little camera up top and that's it. And it's aerodynamically shaped, so there's no reason why it wouldn't be exceptionally good. I do think, maybe not in its current form, but MirrorCam and things like it, I do believe they are the future and it will come. It's just a matter of the market coming to grips with it. And it will. I firmly believe it will. Then again, I'm only human, I could be wrong. But I don't think so. This is a book on the new Actros, the latest Actros. It's certainly comprehensive because there's a lot in this truck that really needs to be explained. There's more technology in this truck than any other truck on the Australian market. We'll start with the SoloStar Concept. What SoloStar is a fold-down bed, which gives you a bigger mattress and more space in the cab when it's lifted up. It gives you this seat, so if you're sitting around for a while and want to read or stretch your legs out or whatever, it just opens up the whole area. I don't know how much time truck drivers really get to sit back and read a book. You're either driving or you're working. And when you're not driving and you're not working, it's always good to go sleeping. I slept in it last night, and for any driver who spends a lot of time on the road and then you run out of hours, you go and have a feed, you go and have a shower, to then have to come into a premium line haul truck like this and lay the bed down, and it's not as easy as it sounds. This seat's got to be laid forward, the driver's seat's got to be pushed forward and the back of it laid forward. It all takes time and it's a little bit finicky, to be quite honest with you, laying the bed down. Once it's down, it's great. You sleep well, it's got a good mattress, it's a bit bigger than the normal mattress. There's so much about this cab that I like. Unfortunately, the fold-down bunk is not part of it. Personally, I'd rather just have a nice big bunk behind the seats and the bed's permanently made, and when you're tired, you climb in and go to sleep. You can't fight technology, it's on its way. It's been building and building for 10, 15 years, and it's really getting to a crescendo point now. And the dash, Benz calls it a multimedia cockpit. I just call it a digital dash because that's what it is. This digital dash is now the standard in the latest Actros. MirrorCam's an option, as it should be, and so SoloStar, the unusual bed layout. They're both optional. One disappointing thing about this, however, is that the predictive powertrain control that was so impressive yesterday in that it remembers the road that you're on and adapts accordingly. This, for whatever reason, failed to start working today. It's just not working. No matter how many times I've turned it off and on, it just won't work. These are the glitches that technology can throw at you. It's just a matter of adapting. Anyway, we're coming into Maroula now. Time for a coffee and take the truck back to Daimler at Huntingwood. There was a time, not so long ago, when the only similarities between a Mercedes-Benz car and a Mercedes-Benz truck was this thing, the three-pointed star. That's changed, and this truck represents that change. The fact that it has the multimedia cockpit, which is honestly a lift out of a Benz car, and the technology associated with that signals an entirely new era. Things like MirrorCam and the SoloStar option, they'll be personal preferences. Some people like them, some people won't, you know? It's up to the individual, and that's the way it should be. But I think at the end of the day, this is still a wonderfully efficient and strong and powerful truck to drive. And with technology building on that and all the safety that's contained within it, it is an absolute sign that the future is coming at us faster and faster every day. And speaking of that, I've got to get this truck back now, so see you next time.